Well, here we are back for another video. Not out on the shore or anything at this point in time. It's about -2 outside at the moment, so a bit chilly. So I haven't had a video up on the channel for a while, so we got into that sort of dead season where I was hoping to get a few more dives in, but the water just sort of started to tail off, the visibility started to disappear, and then all of the storms started coming in, and then that was just the end of that. And then there's always that sort of bit in the middle where there's no real diving and sort of the winter fishing hasn't got going, and all the sort of summer species of fish have started to move away, so there wasn't really much fishing going on. So yeah, long and short of it, not much filming opportunities. I missed all of the big tides, so we didn't get out doing any foraging, I'm afraid. So been going through the shed and just giving that a bit of a sort out, and as you can see here, I've got all of my freediving kit out, which I've just going through and checking over and making sure that's all okay, ready for next year when we can get back in the water. So I thought, why not make a video and show you what I take out in my freediving bag with me. So yeah, got some bits on here, some bits down here, and I'll just give you a little walkthrough on everything I use. So we'll start with the bits and pieces on the table. I'll go through, well, I'll start with what I think, besides your dive float there, is the most important part of your kit, and that is your freedive watch. So this is just a normal wristwatch, but then it's also got the dive computer built into it. So you can press the bottom button here and it goes into the dive function, and then that can track your depth, your water temperature, and then it also tracks your surface interval, which is really, really important to have something which tracks your surface interval. It's all done automatically, so as soon as you start your descent, it will start tracking your dive time, and as soon as you come up to, I think it's about 0.2 meters, it will then come on to the surface interval, and that will start ticking up. And I always like to stay on the surface for 1.5 times the amount I've been down. So for example, if I've been down for a minute, then I will stay on the surface for 1.5 minutes. And that just gives your body a good amount of time to recover. And it helps you, keep that consistency to holding your breath for that amount of time. But also it's really important from safety aspect that you give your body enough time to recover. If you don't, then you run the risk of having a blackout. You can quite often feel fine, but then when you dive and you deplete your oxygen levels too much, because you haven't allowed your body that time to recover, then you come up to the surface and then you have that rush of oxygen, and then that's when you can sometimes black out. There's obviously a lot more scientific than that, but just brief overview on safety. So yeah, this is a SEAT partner, this dive watch. Really helpful, really handy, and I think you can get these for a fraction over 100 quid, so it's not really expensive. Brilliant piece of kit. So then we go on to another piece of safety equipment, which is your dive knife. I've got this on a Velcro strap, so I just pop that up on my arm there, facing downwards so that it doesn't get caught up on anything when I'm diving, and then that's just got a simple catch there, and then you can release it. A nice short stubby knife, serrated blade on this side, and then just a normal blade on that side. So this one obviously really helpful if you get stuck and you need to cut through ropes or anything. Nice sharp point for dispatching anything you might catch, and yeah, just simple, nothing too much about it. This was from Start Point Spearfishing, both the knife and the strap. I can't actually remember the model of the knife, I'm afraid, but I'll look it up and I'll put it in the video description. We then go on to our mask and snorkel. Snorkel first, again, really basic. I don't go for anything fancy with these like valves at the bottom or valves at the top. This is just a bit of plastic tube. This is made by Epsealon, flexible at the bottom so that you can, get it nice and comfortable. I've got some ribbed bits on the side to help with grip on the mask. And then, just a nice sort of curve to this one, just to help when you're sort of in slightly rougher water. It just helps to keep the waves from coming in the top. I do use the clip on the side of the mask, so just pop the snorkel into the side there. So I use that. Some people don't. Some people will just put the mask on and then just slide the snorkel up the side. But I just prefer to keep the two attached together. So yeah, I'll use that. Then onto the mask itself. So this is a mask made by Cressy, and this is actually, they call it just their Cressy Action mask. I can only assume they call it that Action 1 because it has a GoPro mount on the top. I have to say that's what drew me to it, because I obviously wanted to do the videos, and it's really helpful to have the GoPro on the top and then keep your hands a bit more free. But also actually, you'll find a lot of dive lights now do attachments for in the sort of like GoPro style. So even if you haven't got a camera on there, you can put a dive light on there, and that's really handy. Sometimes when I haven't been out filming, I just put my dive light on there, and again, you can keep your hands free. Otherwise you're trying to hold a dive torch, hold a foraging stick, and you know, it all gets a bit, you know, crazy. So that's helpful. Really simple to use when you've got thick gloves on as well. You just pull this tab to adjust it, and then you've got nice sort of easy to find buttons which you just squeeze together, and then you can release the mask. So that's nice and helpful. And then a big wide strap on the back to help it stay in place. Now, the biggest thing about this freediving mask, which you'll notice, is just like how small and compact it is. So it's what they call a low volume mask. Your normal dive mask quite often, although the styles have changed a bit now, your normal dive mask will have a big singular lens quite often, and they're just generally bigger on the front face and also bigger on the back. The reason why you want a low volume mask for freediving, obviously you're holding your breath, and you know, every bit of that breath is precious for staying under the water. So what you don't want to do, sorry, is waste a lot of that oxygen equalizing the air inside the mask. So as you descend down, obviously this will build up pressure, and you need to equalize the mask to stop that pushing too far on your face or too hard on your face. And by doing that, you just, you know, through your nose, you blow a small amount of air into the mask. And yeah, as I say, if that was a bigger air volume in there, then it's going to require more air to equalize it, and then that's just wasting your breath, which is going to reduce your bottom time. So yeah, Cressy Action Mask, really great bit of kit. I've had that again for a couple of years, and it's not showing any signs of giving up anytime soon. And then gloves and booties. Quite simple, not much to them. They're both 5mm. These are made by Seac, and these are made by Beuchat. These are open cell material. So I'll go through the material, the open cell, in a bit later when I talk about the suit. But essentially the difference is the inside of the gloves. So yeah, these are great. We'll dive up here in Scotland. I'll probably get back in, hopefully, fingers crossed, with the weather in the springtime. And it will be about probably 5 to 7 degrees in the water. If we're really lucky in the summer, we might push up to about 15 degrees, but it depends how the summer goes. But yeah, 5mm, I'm fine for a good couple of hours in the water in the winter. And I don't get too hot in the summer. And even if I do, just flush a little bit of water into them. So yeah, that's it. So gloves, booties, mask, snorkel, watch, and knife. Other bits and pieces we've got here, I've got my dive vest, or weight vest, suit, bag, dive float, and fins. So we'll just go through those bits and pieces now. So down here we've got my rope, or yeah, don't really know what else you can call it, float line. I've got a fixed line on the bottom, on the back of this sort of float reel, and then this red line on the top is an elasticated line. So this one's actually, I think this is 4 meters, this one, and then it extends out to about 16 meters, which is really helpful. So it's really flexible. Yeah, it's like that, and then, I mean, you can just stretch it so far. It's really good actually, because it means that you don't have like a load of lines sitting around on the surface, which is prone to getting tangled. You don't get that much resistance when you dive down with this elasticated line. So yeah, quite often what I'll do is I'll take a couple of wraps of this orange line off the back, and then that clips on to my dive float. So I'll have that orange line, then about 1.5 meters, and then onto this red line. And then, you know, I just attach this to my foraging hook. And then, as I say, you dive down and this just stretches as you dive, and it's really good. It doesn't get tangled. I find that if you use just this orange line, because it's sort of floating around on the top a lot of the time, it will just get really tangled up. But this red float line is brilliant, the elasticated one. Again, that was from Start Point Spearfishing, the elasticated line. Another really important safety aspect, probably as important, if not more important than the dive watch, is your dive float. Really, really important to make yourself seen in the water. you know, from either canoes or boats, or, you know, if you get into trouble, so that people can see you. So you've got your dive flag, which just slots into this part of the back of the float here. So that just goes into the back. So a couple of little elasticated tabs. So yeah, that's, as I say, really important safety thing to have. You just need to be seen. The amount of times I've had, you know, boats come quite close to me, even though I know they're fully, I'm fully aware of where they are. But, you know, quite often I have to, you know, I'll be under the water and you'll hear the boats and you come back up and they're a lot closer than, you know, you would be comfortable with. But yeah, also on this float, you've got a couple of elasticated bands on the side here. So what I do is I'll slide my spear gun down the side and then just use one of these to clip it on. These clips come off the bottom here, so I'll clip one of them around the handle. It's got each side. So I'd go foraging hook one side and then spear gun on the other side. Then this clip on the back here, this is where I'll clip my catch bag onto. And then this clip on the front is where I'll clip my float line onto. You know, just obvious reasons. So you're pulling it through the water the right way. And then on the top, you've just got these elasticated bands on the top here, which is great. You know, you'd like to stick a water bottle in there, or, you know, sometimes I'll just put the float line winder in there, and, you know, all sorts of other bits and pieces. I've got a couple of tuna clips and I just clip those onto there with other bits and pieces which I use throughout the dive. And then fins. So again, a bit like the mask, where you've got the difference between a dive mask and a freediving mask. These are specific freediving fins. You can use dive fins, there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you're just getting into it and you've got some lying around, or you're trying to save a bit of money and your friend or pal's got something which you can borrow. It's not quite as efficient getting down to the bottom. These dive fins are much longer, they're really, really flexible. So they just give you a lot of power through the water. These are just plastic fins. You know, a lot of the, pretty much all of the professionals will probably use like carbon fiber fins. Because I'm most of the time like flapping around in the rocks and things like that, trying to get the lobsters and things, you know, quite often, you know, the end of the fins will be scraping up against the rocks, or, you know, bashing against the bottom of the seabed or something. So I'm not willing to invest in carbon fiber fins and then snap them on my first dive outing. So yeah, I just use these plastic ones, and I've had these for 2.5 years now. They're scratched up all down the side, all over the top, but they're doing, you know, absolutely great. These are Beuchat Mundial fins onto their matching foot pocket. The foot pocket on this part here, and then these two clips here, is removable. So if I want to just replace this blade, if the blade snaps, you can. Or if you feel like you want to go for a slightly stiffer fin or softer fin, then again, you just take the blades out. So that's that. I've also got a weight vest. This is really, really helpful actually. One of the biggest sort of improvements I made to my diving was when I moved to using a weight vest as well as the weight belt. Obviously everyone's weight is going to be different. The amount of lead you take down will be different. I use about 6 kgs on my belt, and then I've got 3.5 in the vest. The biggest difference was when you have all of the weight around your center, you almost end up being like an upside down banana in the water. You've got the weight pulling your waist down, but your legs and your head are wanting to go up, and it makes it really hard to sit on the bottom, and you end up fighting your body a lot to stay down on the bottom. But obviously having this vest on, which just clips over your shoulders, and then you have this strap which just comes through each of these holes at the front here, and it just clips across your chest there. It just keeps you a lot more level, so it allows you to lay on the seabed and get right underneath the rocks and everything much easier. And then from a safety point of view, you've just got one single buckle there. You ping the buckle, and then these will go flying out of these big massive holes, and then it will just release the whole vest and drop it. So safety is not a problem at all. And then, you know, you've just got a whistle on the end of there as well, so that gives you an extra bit of warning if you get stuck or in trouble. So this is made by Epsealon, this vest. They're not expensive, I think maybe about 30 quid or something. You just have little pockets on the back, so you've got like your normal square dive weights in here, and then in this top section there's actually two. I haven't got a weight in this part, but I've just got one in here. You just can put these rectangular weights in there, and it's really helpful. It just allows for those small little adjustments. The other good thing about using a vest as well is you can really easily set yourself up for different conditions. So if you're diving really deep, you're going to need to use less lead. So in that case, I can just wear my belt. But then if I'm diving really shallow, I can use my belt and the vest. And it just means I'm not having to take lead on and off my belt the whole time. My belt is actually still in the shed, but yeah, there's not much to that. I guess the final and most important part is the actual suit itself. So this is an Epsealon Shadow spearfishing suit. It's a two-piece suit, so tops and bottoms, and this is 7mm. So 7mm suit, 5mm gloves, and yeah, it's really nice suit. It's got nice, good, decent pad on the chest here for when you're loading your gun. Nice sort of good seal seams. And an inbuilt hood, and then you've got the little tail on the bottom, which flicks under and then connects up into these, and it's a really quick securing method. So you've just got a little tab on there. I don't know how well you can see that, but that just locks into there, and then you just, say easier said than done when you're not actually wearing it, but you just pull that and then it just locks in there. So yeah, really nice. So that's the top, and then the bottoms, not much to them, but same matching material, same 7mm as well. Got really nice, hard wearing bit on the inside of your legs here and on the knees. So obviously this is where you're probably going to bash yourself with your fins, and then maybe if you're like kneeling around on the rocks and stuff. Again, 7mm. And yeah, I mentioned earlier about the difference in material. So I'll try and show you this close up. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see. But this sort of rougher material here, this is what your normal surf wetsuit will be made out of, this whole stuff on the outside and the inside. The difference with a spearfishing suit is on the inside, it's just, turn that inside out a bit. It's just pure smooth neoprene on the inside. It doesn't have any form of protection on here. It means it's very easy to get damaged, so you've got to be really careful with sharp objects around it. When you're putting it on, you have to be careful not to like cut it with your nails or anything like that, because you can damage it very easily. But the advantage of this, having this pure neoprene on the inside, is that it makes a brilliant seal to your skin, and that's why these suits are so good in cold water, because they just they pretty much act like a dry suit. I can put this on and come back with pretty much bone dry. Even like your head, which is obviously everything's fully submerged, my hair's pretty much dry. It does make it mildly entertaining trying to put it on, because you can't put it on like a normal wetsuit. You have to lubricate the inside of this suit before you can put it on. So all I've got down here somewhere, everyone has their different method, but I've got an old shampoo bottle and some conditioner, and what I'll do is just fill this up with water, depending on how cold it is, fill up with warm water before I leave the house, and then just put a couple of squirts of conditioner in it, give it a good shake, and then just fill the suit up really before you put it on. So I'll hold the bottom of the legs, and then I'll just pour a load of water into the top there, hold the top, give it a good shake around so the water's all inside, and then the same with the top. What I'll do is grab the arms and then hold those so that you don't lose all the water, grab the hood, and then pour a load of water into the bottom there, and then again just give it a good shake around, and then what I'll do is just release one arm and let a bit of the water drain out there, release the other, let the water drain out there, and then release the hood. That way you know that that sort of conditioner has got all the way through, and then it's just much easier to put it on. If you don't do that, you won't get it on, and if you do, you'll damage it. and you know, you just won't get that good seal you need. So yeah, so that's about it really. There's not too much else I take out there. That's generally the kit I use for going after, you know, lobsters and crabs and anything else. I have got my spear gun, which I have got out in the shed, but I attach that to my float. If I'm perfectly honest, there's not a huge amount of fish around our coastline here, so it's mostly the crustaceans which we go after, so just normal foraging hook. Just having a look around, see if there's any other bits on the floor I've missed out, but no, I think that's about it. I'll put a little you know, sort of type up in the description of all of this kit here, the sort of makes and models of it all, and try and remember where I bought all the bits from, just so you can go and have a shop around. I use Starpoint Spearfishing for virtually all of my equipment now. They've got everything you need, and the guys there are really, really helpful. So you know, just pick up the phone and give them a call, and they're, you know, great for if you're really experienced or if you're a beginner. They're more than willing to help. So yeah, they may not have these exact bits and pieces because this is sort of stuff I've built up over a few years, but they'll, you know, easily get you going. So as I say, I'll put the links to these particular bits and pieces in the description if you want to go and try and find these exact bits. But yeah, if you've got any other questions, or if you know, want to ask me anything else about what I do when I'm out free diving, just pop them in the comments, and hopefully we might be able to get a different video up on the channel soon. I have been out filming on a couple of the night fishing sessions after the cod, but I've been out about 4 times and only caught, you know, a couple of fish, so it's not going to make the most exciting video for you guys. So got a competition coming up, fishing competition coming up at the weekend, so I'll take the camera out with that, film that, and maybe we might get a bit more luck and might be able to get something else up. But if there isn't another video before the end of the year, I wish everyone here a happy Christmas, and thank you for watching the videos I have managed to put up this year. If you want to give the channel a thumbs up and subscribe, and hopefully next year we'll try and get a little bit more regular with the content going up. All right, that's it for now. As I say, any questions, fire them over, and I'll be more than happy to try and help answer them. And yeah, we'll see you soon.